Hey everybody, thank y'all for tuning in to The Real for Real. This is Kevin and Isaiah. We appreciate the fact that you tuned in. If this is your first time, welcome. And for those who've been following us for a while, hey, you know what time it is. So today, we are going to do a double feature. We're going to talk a little bit about Shang-Chi with Simu Liu, and we're also going to talk a little bit about Candyman, just the same.
Double feature.
Yep, double feature. We got to go into a little bit of both. We went and spent some time this week trying to, catch both of these films. We want to talk about them, so we're going to dig into it. We'll start with Shang-Chi, and then we'll move our way a little bit into Candyman as we go. So, let's kick it off. What's your thoughts? First impressions of Shang-Chi.
All right, so my first impressions of Shang-Chi, you already know how I am with MCU movies. I watch all of them, right?
Yes, you do.
Am I amazed by all of them? No.
Not at all.
This one I was actually amazed by. This one falls under my amazed list, under Black Panther, under Thor Ragnarok, Infinity War, Winter Soldier. This one I was amazed by. But first we got to give a shout out to the director, right? Destin Cretton.
Yeah.
Whew, if you ever seen Short Term 12, if you've ever seen, what else did he do? Just Mercy. If you've seen those two movies.
Oh, get out of here.
So he's the director for both of those movies. So when I saw his name on the list, I was like,
I did not connect it.
Oh, okay.
I did not connect it at all, to be honest.
Director, you knew it was going to be A1, right?
Yeah.
Then we got Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi.
Simu Liu.
Man, really good. Really good. For his first major film, he's been in films before, but this is his first major that everybody has seen.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I think the
first high budget. This was...
Yeah, the thing I knew him from before was, I believe it's Kim's Convenience.
See, I've never seen that. This is my first
TV show,
time.
But
this is my first time seeing this guy, and I was impressed. He did a really good job.
No,
Aquafina.
Oh no,
she don't miss.
I'm an Aquafina fan already. I think she's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Definitely thought she was pretty funny.
She did a really good job. Really good job playing Katie. And I got to give a shout out to Tony Leung, who plays the Mandarin. Bro, I'm gonna tell you just like this: Thanos is the #1 MCU villain. Mandarin is #2.
I could agree with it.
Mandarin is #2.
I could agree with it. For me, when I sat and watched it the first time, I felt the same. Like I felt it was a pretty solid effort.
Yeah.
Good, I guess you could say, good secondary start to this new phase. Black Widow was good for what it was, but I think we both said that it may have just been a little bit too late.
I think we forgot about that movie already. Yeah.
I ain't forgot about it. Now I know you.
This is technically. I know that's the first phase one. Phase four
we in,
MCU.
Right? Yeah.
But this is technically the first one. Don't care about that. She's dead already. Natasha's dead. Move on. so we got this movie.
They spent some time setting up, for the new Romanoff to come through.
She's dead. She's dead.
You know what I'm saying? They took some time to set up the new Black Widow. So give it some credit. But I mean, for the second film and the second technical film in Phase 4, I thought, it did it left a bigger punch than I think Black Widow did. And again, there's no shots at ScarJo. I just think it was, as we said, a misstep. It was a misstep for them.
This is way better. And let's talk about Tony Leung for a minute, who plays the Mandarin. So this guy is a major star for the Hong Kong production movies, and I remember I first noticed him, and you ever seen Gorgeous with Jackie Chan? He was in that movie.
Yeah.
He was in a Chow Yun-Fat movie, Hard Boiled. He was in
I haven't
that movie
seen Hard Boiled. I've not
Hard
seen
Boiled
that
was
one.
really good. He was in Hero with Jet Li, another good one.
That's where I
You've seen him in that one, right? So
Definitely
Tony Leung, he's a star, man. He's been doing it for a long time. So that's why I think you're able to get the kind of acting that you got from him. Playing the Mandarin, but.
It was just, I was reading an article or something before I went to go see the movie that was talking about like his process too, and like how every time they went to go shoot, he was almost like just flawlessly. They didn't have to tell him anything because he spent a lot of time, like even when he wasn't in scenes, behind the camera, like, and he was engulfed in like what was going on. So big kudos to him, because
he's an OG, bro. That's it.
It showed in his performance.
Yeah.
But let's get into like how we usually do. Let's talk a little bit about pluses, and of course the minuses, the negatives.
It's funny when I called you right after you saw the movie. I was like, hey, what you think? You're like, it was okay.
Yeah,
it was okay. I saw it. You might have been tired, but
I was wiped.
You were tired. All right, well, I'm gonna get to this right now. We're
gonna talk about it. Don't get me wrong. I still was able to have a critical eye.
Because if I am like, hey, this is a great MCU movie, and you're like, it was okay. No, we're gonna figure this out right now.
Let's do it.
So, My number one thing is the fight sequences in this movie is off the chain.
I will agree. We finally got back to some legit hand-to-hand stuff happening, and I was pleased.
Bro, this is the best martial arts or best hand-to-hand combat I've seen MCU do since Winter Soldier.
I would say it's definitely...
This is better than Winter Soldier's fight sequences.
So you say it's instant?
Oh yeah, the first half of this movie, the fight sequences are even better than Winter Soldier. Like yes.
Well,
I think so.
I think I definitely would say it's comparable.
I think so.
I can't. I mean,
I love Winter Soldier.
I will say I haven't sat down and tried to compare the two.
Dude, think about
it was entertaining.
Think about this.
It was hot.
The wire fu fighting with like when you think about when they go to Tai Lo.
Yeah.
And Mandarin is fighting who's supposed to be his wife, but is not his wife yet.
Yeah.
And with I'm getting like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh, that was totally I think I told you
with the wind blowing and the leaves.
Yeah, I think that's something I talked about on the phone.
Where they're flying over. Oh man, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
the wire fighting was off the chain. That was great. And then we think about the fight sequence when we get to his sister's club, right?
Yeah.
And they're fighting there. That entire sequence at the club
everything
was great.
Everything in Macau on the side of the building was cool. Like super. Like there was some essence to me of like when I watched the hand-to-hand combat throughout the film that reminded me a little bit of Jackie Chan, especially the first bus fight with the way that he's like removing the jacket, like he's utilizing the environment the way that Jackie Chan often does in his films.
It was good, man. I really enjoyed that. I was getting like when they were at Tai Lo, I was definitely getting Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon vibes.
Yeah.
And in some of the other fight sequences, I was definitely getting Jackie Chan movie vibes, like some of the moves. And everybody just looked like they knew what they were doing, bro. Everybody looked like they knew their job. And as much as I like John Wick, bro, John Wick, the way they shoot that movie, it's a wide camera shot. So everybody on the screen looks like they know what they're doing. Like they do a good job of convincing you that everybody on screen knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
This one, no. It's zoomed in like you're watching a regular martial arts movie. Everybody on screen knows what they're doing. So fight sequences for sure.
No, there's no question there. I'm not arguing that point. I thought that's definitely a positive of this movie. Is that for sure the fight sequences were good.
For sure.
Super good. Another positive I would sling into it was I think the underlying storyline to the story.
Oh yeah.
Like or to the movie itself. The idea of this estranged kind of family situation, I think brought some connection to the audiences, regardless of whether you know anything about Shang-Chi or not. For a lot of us, everybody can understand the idea of wanting to live your own life, have your own path.
Very relatable.
And having like some tension with your with one of your parents. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it be your pops in some cases or your moms, but everybody knew about everybody can relate to that little piece of the story.
So you got Shang-Chi and Katie working a job that's not the best, right?
Not at all.
And they're not living up to their full potential, but they're young and they're trying to figure it out. And they're spending their nights of like partying and karaoke. Like it just seems relatable. Like people like that. You may have been through it before. It's just relatable.
Well, and then all of us know about the idea of having to live up to a parent's expectation, what they set you up for. Shang-Chi definitely is brought up in literally the shadow of his old man. But with this idea that I'll give you the rings, I guess, if I see that you are worthy enough to get them. And that to me, I think creates a connection for the audience that I think
for sure
makes it very easy that even if you're not a big fan or don't know much about this story, you can easily connect a little bit more to it.
I do like that a lot about it.
At least that's me.
Yeah, for sure.
So what else we got on the positives list too?
Man, what else? Keep going, man. If you got other stuff, go ahead.
So for me, I will definitely say casting, I think, worked out really, really great. Casting in general. We've already talked about Tony, but Simu Liu was really good. Really, really good as Shang-Chi. I thought Awkwafina was a great sidekick character, but also allowed for a lot of, I guess you could say, comedic release.
That's a good thing. So
and it wasn't over the top.
Since you mentioned comedic release, they did a good job. So they did a good job of using her for the comic relief, but it didn't feel forced. I feel like she actually she did it at the right times.
She's a little more chill than I think I've seen in some other movies.
And even though not every joke landed with me necessarily, but it was still like done in a way where it was like, okay, it doesn't take away from what's going on.
It felt.
That's what I felt.
It
like.
felt
with her, yeah.
Real. It felt real amongst
real,
the
sure.
amongst the settings that they were talking about.
Definitely.
So
the Mandarin, big positive.
Yeah.
So Tony Leung, I know I already mentioned him, but bro, think about this. I think he is the best villain. One of the best villains out of MCU. Like, don't you think so?
I could go with
like, just with his story. And you know why? I think it's funny. Okay. So Thanos, of course, like why would you say he is?
To me, he is easily the best villain in the MCU, just because if you really think about it, he wasn't attempting to be a villain. He did some terrible things, but in his mind, he was trying to do what was best for in his mind, the universe, so to speak. He had already experienced a pretty bad, extinction level event on his own planet.
Yeah.
So the way that they spun him in the MCU is, hey, if I can get these stones, I can avoid a lot of hardship.
See, I figured you would go that route. Yeah. Mandarin is clear cut. When I watch Mandarin in this movie, I get 48 Laws of Power vibe. Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. Because what is he after? Power. What is he doing? Using laws to manipulate his situation and get what he wants.
I knew
that
it.
just makes sense.
It.
Mandarin, and it's all relatable. Like, it just feels real.
I knew it.
Like, Mandarin just seems like somebody that you would know. Like, Mandarin is legit. Mandarin is right behind Thanos for me. Like, for sure.
I definitely think 100%. There's a lot of that there, but I knew it when I watched the movie. I was like,
48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene. That's the vibes I'm getting right there.
Before I even spoke to you about it, I was like,
I'm getting
Kevin's gonna like this man.
I'm getting Sun Tzu Art of War vibes from this dude.
I was like, the moment they said, it's like 2 lines into the movie, and they were like, okay, it's more than 2, but it's like within that first 5 minutes, and they're doing the little exposition.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. But the Mandarin was all about chasing power, and I went, this is gonna be Kevin's
I'm
dude.
Just thinking thinking Art of War. I'm thinking 48 Laws of Power. I love it, man.
I was like,
I thought he was great. I thought he was great.
So yeah, casting was great. And of course, really the Mandarin himself.
Oh man,
I have to give this movie credit for restoring the Mandarin, and while using and bringing back the other Mandarin from Iron Man 3.
That's
the one that ticked off a good chunk of the super,
which I actually thought was clever. Iron Man 3 Mandarin to me was clever.
We can give some respect to the clever usage. Yeah. I was able to give respect to the fact that yes, the way that they tied the Mandarin into Iron Man 3, the way they used it was clever.
Yeah.
But I can say also, as a fan of comic, like of the lore,
it rubbed you the wrong way.
It did rub me the wrong way because I was like, y'all can't just turn the Mandarin, like one of Iron Man's biggest villains, into just a
But this movie actually made that okay.
Yeah, well, I think the way they rectified it,
works
out fine.
It was fine. I like
so
that.
that's
a positive note for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a positive.
Note. What else you got on your positives? That's it.
Well, I think we tapped most of.
I think that's it.
So.
I know you got problems with this movie. Go ahead and start.
Okay.
Go ahead and start.
I know you ought to have some.
I mean, I got some problems too.
But I can start it. It ain't a problem. My first problem would be initially, I think we had a little too much CGI on the front end.
Ooh, can I backdoor you on that?
You know what I'm saying? On the front end.
I got backdoor you on that.
And so the second half of the film, when it takes place in essentially Ta Lo for the most of it, actually what they did to incorporate the different type of mythical creatures, especially with the addition of the dragons, hey, I thought that was cool. I thought that was fine. Mm. All we were seeing there that makes sense. However, on the front end, especially like when I think about the bus scene, I'm like, I think you could have done this a little more practically.
He had a problem with it.
I mean,
that was a good scene.
I didn't say it was a bad scene.
CGI
I'm saying there's
not use CGI.
I was like, we could have shot this on the bus.
Yeah.
Moving through some area. Some of these things could have been done.
Okay.
Now, is it saying that the scene is terrible? No.
No, that's a good.
But I'm saying on the front end, we got a lot of that there, and I was like,
you did.
Do we need that?
No, I feel you on that. See, my problem with it is, okay, so we lose what I was loving about it. So we got a lot of hand-to-hand combat throughout the first half of the movie. Then the second half of the movie ends up being ring versus ring, ends up being dragon versus dragon, that ends up being shooting down dragons with bow and arrow. Like, it ends up being a lot of CGI, battlefield stuff going on.
So the loss of the hand-to-hand would be...
we lost the hand-to-hand combat, which is what I was loving about it. And so I wish they would have just incorporated hand-to-hand combat along with the other things that they were doing as well.
No.
So
I could agree with that point as well as
I wish you would have just.
But you know what?
Kept that going.
So I agree with you on that point. I think that was another negative, but I think that negative is embedded in what my other negative was. And granted, my comic book fans who've been reading about Shang-Chi forever, you might have to hit me for this one because I haven't read it. I hadn't read it going into it. I'm not gonna pretend like I did.
They hadn't read it either.
Well, hey, there's somebody out there who's gonna hit them comments
because they're gonna say it actually is Shang-Chi the Kung Fu Master.
Yeah, they're gonna get me. But what I will say is, like, I think for me, the little bit that I had tried to read up on, I think it would have been better to keep this story just revolving around the dad as the main villain.
Yeah.
And I think, and the reason I say that touches to yours is because you're right. Like once the creature is being like introduced, or once the creatures come out,
that tension is gone.
The hand to hand leaves.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of its strong suits.
Yeah.
I mean, the choreography for that was great. The fight choreography was really great. But you're right. That last like 15 minutes or so.
Well, you know why they did that, right? You know why they
did
did that. So they did that, I think, to cater to both audiences of people. The first half of the movie is like, all right, we're gonna give you that martial arts stuff because I know y'all gonna, for you kung fu fans, whatever, you'll love this. But we got to get back in our Marvel bag, heavy CGI, creatures, fantasy, and so we got to keep our core MCU people.
Calling this,
and I said, I get it. I get it. So that's why it's not that big of an issue, but it's a negative.
I can't say that it's just the Marvel bag.
Nah, please.
I know you a heavy DC fan.
I'm just saying,
but don't act like it's just Marvel.
I love Marvel though.
It's just Marvel that goes in that zone. I hear that in your voice, that underlying. Okay.
All right. So this isn't just Marvel, right?
It isn't just.
Let's think about forced comedy for a second. Okay. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with comedy in this movie, but when he's on the plane and he's telling his story and we're getting flashbacks, those flashback scenes were really good, talking about his childhood.
I did.
Then next thing you know, what happens?
What
happens? The lady comes and interrupts the story and asks, what kind of food would you like? Would you like beef or would you like this? And it's like, oh, here we go with some more jokes again. Forced. That's what Marvel does. DC doesn't do that kind of stuff. DC doesn't do that. That's what Marvel does.
Now, I'm not saying that's not a trope. What you talked about a second ago, saying just we got to over CGI stuff. I'm like,
well, no,
that ain't just Marvel. That ain't just Marvel.
They all do it. That's fine.
Now, what you saying about this one, that is true. They do.
And I love Marvel, by the way, so I don't want y'all coming for me.
Marvel,
I'm just saying.
Marvel has had it. You're right. Marvel, Marvel has had an issue with being able to simply keep things serious when they need to be serious.
Yeah, right,
you gotta drop a joke.
That was Black Widow's problem. That was crazy.
Yeah, they took that, made that.
But moving on, though, another negative of this movie, the masked character that we got, which is basically this was like Mandarin's right hand man, right? So like, we're getting attention in this movie from this character, him like hitting him by like helping him train and stuff, and he really seemed like a jerk too. And they even have a solo hand-to-hand combat fight and everything at the Sisters Club, which was really great. And then he fights him again, but I'm just like, wait a second. I wish they would develop him a little bit more. I'm not saying you have to give him a storyline, but I just felt like he was going to be like a bigger person in this. And I was like, ooh, I gotta ding you on that too.
Yeah, I definitely felt like, for me,
because he was great.
They plop him in and make specific notice. They draw attention and focus to him.
Yeah.
As being essentially the arm of the dad's punishments and training. He's the one who's actually doing the abuse on behalf.
Yeah.
So I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking Shang-Chi's got to be. I hate my dad. But second up, real close, has got to be that masked figure. And I guess I felt like
it disappears.
By the end of the movie, we didn't get.
It just dies and that's that.
But I think again that goes to the fact that the real villain's supposed to be the creature, and I'm like, what? If we had made it just the dad, I think we would have gotten that stair-stepped, typical kung fu movie plot where they go. here's the main villain that you got to get to, and then you got to beat through the second in command, and then it's it feels like a video game. Boss level is the dad.
For some reason, I feel like we got more. You got some negatives in this movie. We got some negatives in this.
Well, I mean, I got a couple. I told you, the comedy thing. Even though I think that Awkwafina played a good side, I thought that there were a lot of pieces of it to me that just fell flat or felt like a little forced in place. Like for instance, you brought up the one to me that I was like, we could have done without this whole chunk. The plane, nothing about that one.
No, that
landed for me. I was like,
no.
So we only have the beat.
And it's only because that flashback was so good.
Well, no. Like, I think even if you change that scene and it's just them having a conversation and you don't have the flashback, he just tells her, "This is what I did." No matter what. Heck, even if it was just before that happened, if you rearrange it and they're sitting there and then he's sleeping and resting and then, excuse me, I want something to eat. Nothing about it needed for that comedy, that so-called joke to go that long.
No, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have the beef then because I was like, if y'all like
they're just trying to be family.
In the writers' room there, I was like, some of the jokes, I was like, y'all kind of.
They're just trying to be family friendly. That's it.
But for me,
I think
that's the thing.
So Shang-Chi's sister kind of took a back seat for a little bit, and I just was expecting a little bit more because I felt like towards the end she kind of was in this back seat. Like we're building up Katie, and then she's kind of going this way. So Katie's going up, she's kind of going down.
Yeah,
but I mean, you stay for the ending credits, and you'll see that she's a big deal.
I mean, she's not thrown completely away, but yeah,
she's not thrown away. She's not thrown away.
It does at the time feel like. I guess better yet, it's better, at least for me, it's better to say I wanted to see more of her. Like she was introduced in a cool way. And I think so Marvel, maybe y'all got more plans for her down the line. But for me, I was like, dang, I actually wanted more of her than I actually would have wanted of Awkwafina's Katie.
But look, I don't want to sound like we're bashing this because I really like this movie a lot.
Well,
so say something else positive. Wong came through from Doctor Strange. I appreciated that. Oh, you better get out of here, man.
For me, I'm sorry.
Nah, you better go on.
The Wong edition.
Wong coming through was dope.
The Wong edition, as well as the Abomination.
That was cool.
Felt unnecessary.
Well, it's all right.
Like literally, I think we could have used for just the end when he shows up.
Okay.
Not saying Wong did bad. Not saying that acting is bad. It felt. It felt like we're dropping
this negative list is lasting longer than it should have. I didn't expect it to go this way.
It went tit for tat. You just tried to throw me back to positive.
I didn't expect it to go this way on the negative list.
You say, you're the one who always like, yo, bro. MCU think. I'm just saying they got some negatives.
I know. I didn't. This is actually a really good movie, though. So on the positive, like we said, the action sequences were really good. I think the acting was great. I enjoyed the fact that even if you're an MCU beginner, I think this is good. Like you're going to be able to understand this good. It's not going to get convoluted for you. The storyline's easy to follow.
Yeah.
So my rating of this movie, I'm going to give it a solid 94%. It's a solid 94% movie for me. I thought it was really good.
I would give it probably about a 8.5 on a 10 scale. So 85 if you want to.
85%. Okay.
85.
That's fair. I mean, it's still good. I mean, it's
80 to 85. So I probably do need to watch it again.
This isn't top 5 MCU movies for me. This one. This is in my top 5 list. I know for sure Infinity War, Black Panther, Winter Soldier, this one, Thor Ragnarok. This is like my top 5 list. No specific order, but these are my top 5.
I got to do some. To be fair, I probably do need to watch it again.
Yeah, watch it again. Don't watch it at 10:30 at night when you're tired.
At the moment right now with me, it's only fair to give it 80 to an 85. I can't give it a whole A
Boy, you better go on somewhere with all that.
You heard my negatives list, and you agree with a good number of mine.
No, I can't put it at an A.
I can't put it at an A just yet.
It's still a really great movie.
But like I said, let me go in and see it again. I might be able to change my mind.
That's all right. Let's get into Candyman, bro.
All right, Candyman. Initial thoughts.
Let's get into Candyman.
Initial thoughts.
What's the problem with this movie? Why are people hating on it?
I agree.
I'm like hating on this movie. What's the deal?
What did y'all expect to go in there for?
What?
Like
this? So what I'm hearing a lot of is it wasn't scary. Well, first of all, let me just say this.
I'll save that for positive negatives, but
well, no, I'm gonna just say this. Okay, so I'm biased because I can't move. Horror movies don't scare me, right?
Yeah,
You already know what kind of stuff scares me.
I'm not
but I will
there.
say, like the 92. I don't know if I want to go like positives, negatives. Let's just talk about it. 1992.
Okay. You said you go change it up?
Yeah, let's change it up. So 1992 Candyman.
All right.
The thing about it was, it's not that it's super scary. It's the fact that the tone is just kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Because you're this urban legend. What does he look like when we were kids? Oh, you gonna say Candyman 5 times in the mirror? It was like this urban legend and this tone, and just like they utilized him a little bit in the movie, Tony Todd, and the little bit that we get from him is like, whoo, this dude's creepy. So I don't know. It's like I don't see what the problem is. It was never super scary. Yeah. I just think it always had a dark tone.
Okay.
And that's how I feel about it. I don't know.
So I won't lie. For me, let me put this out there straight. I did not want to go see the movie. And that's and
he actually didn't want to do a review.
And hear me out. Like we were talking on the phone about it. He was like, "Yo, I think we should do this." People talking to me about it, and I told him, I said, "Nah." And no disrespect to Nia DaCosta or Jordan Peele. I
support your black movies.
But let's be real. We
already skipped Aretha, brother. We gotta talk about
No, well, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but I do think that there was a stack of movies that came out that I just forgot about. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I could tell Aretha I wasn't talking about it.
Biopics, I'll get to it eventually. I will get to them. But, there's been a stack of things that came out and we had to go play some catch up. That happened. But that's not my reason for not wanting to see it. I didn't want to see the movie because, so for me, this is the way when I saw the initial trailer for it, I saw that trailer coming off for 2020, 2021, and the kind of hot-seated issues that were sitting around, African Americans and the tension between America and African Americans. I was not in the zone, in the space that I wanted to watch that, especially after I watched the first trailer, and that trailer shows initially the story of the Candyman, with the puppets, which is a beautiful job of using those puppets.
Oh, the puppeteering was good.
But it's showing police brutality. I was like, I'm done. and don't get me wrong, I understand the 92 version and these both have some, they are based around like
racism.
Talking about a
racism,
like undertone. That's the underlying theme.
Right.
Looking at that. So I didn't want to see this movie, but that's not, so when you talk about biases, I got a bias because I don't like I don't like horror movies
like that anyways.
I'm very picky about
even though The Omen would have been in his top 10, but that's
fine. Oh yeah, I mean it's great, but like I said, I'm very picky about my horror movies. I don't really like them. I easily can say that that's one of my worst. Usually, they got a lot of bad ones.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But I also had a bias because I was adamant I don't want to see it. When I saw the trailer, I was like, this is gonna have some nods to some things that I just don't. At this point, I'm tired of talking about and seeing at the moment. Doesn't mean it's not good to talk about them, just wasn't there. Didn't want to be there. However, I'm in agreement. This movie is not bad the way people talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, okay, and that's another thing. So gentrification is the issue. People are talking about it. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, my whole thing is, Jordan Peele, what do you expect? He's going to be heavy-handed when it comes to certain issues. He's not the only writer in this, though. There were two other people that contributed to the screenplay as well. Yeah. But I thought it was fine. I guess my issue with it was we get a lot of talk about gentrify, this, that. So what I would have liked to see is, what does it look like? Show us the effects of gentrification. Like, let's see some black families, what happens to them when they get displaced. Or let's see the white people when they move in, what their lives look like. So it's like, if you're talking about so much about gentrification, show me the horrors for black people and what that looks like. Show it to me, and let's not just talk about it surface level.
So see,
that's just one thing.
So I feel like in a way, he addressed that all. He addressed every piece of that. Like, well, so some positives here, like, because I know we see that we're gonna change it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But this is just where my head is at. So I
want to talk positive.
So I can connect these dots together better.
For sure, okay.
So one of the things I thought that was positive, and Jordan Peele did this in both of the other movies that we've connected to him, Us as well as Get Out.
Yeah,
is that one, he does a good job of weaving those type of issues into the situation, like into the story.
Yeah,
when the way that he, like you said, he's on the nose about it, but also it's very artistic in the way that he does it. the critic, when he's throwing the show, the idea, like the way that he has Anthony set up his exhibit with the mirror first, which of course gives callback gives a lot of callback to the story, the legend. Yeah. Say his name 5 times in the mirror. But of course, the mirror opens up. Mirror first thing being, when you look in the mirror, you see yourself. Yeah. Look at the person in the mirror, and then when it opens, you see the issues, the various people from this neighborhood, this area that have gone through brutal experiences.
The nail on the head. That's good. Yeah.
To which the art is, the artist is semi-appreciated, but also the critic comes at the idea of like, but when I have to see this story, when I have to be confronted with this story, yeah, really, is this what it's about again? Like, yeah. I don't think that's accidental, and he does a good job of this in all his films. That's super great. Like, that's a positive for me. I think that's a really
positive for me. Visually, I thought this movie looked really good. So it's interesting, like the parallels between this movie and the original. So like the first Candyman, the opening credits, it's a shot over the city, right? When they're running the credits. And this one, it's upside down, and you see it from the bottom up when they're doing the credits. So I thought that was cool. Also, like the whole urban legend deal when they put a twist on it where they're like, Helen is the Candyman, right? Yeah. And this is the story that people are running with now. I thought that was cool.
So for me, I have to say the performances were really good.
Yeah, the performances were good.
The performances
bringing people back as well. Anna Marie was brought back. Yeah. Anna Marie was brought back, and I like the twist as well as Anthony being the child that was kidnapped. Yeah. That was cool.
So the story for me is actually,
the story's straight.
Good.
It's pretty good.
But also in my negative side, it sits there too, and I'll get to that in a second. Yeah. But I was gonna say their performances were really good. Shots wise, cinematography, like when you mentioned the upside down shot, I really enjoyed the way that looked. Yeah. For me, the real plus of this comes in his weaving of things. The idea of even like Candyman, do we say his name? That question rings out over and over. And like I said, over the tensions, regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, how you felt about it, it definitely brings close to what we were talking, like what was going on in 2021.
Well, you said the say his name artwork, obviously say his name, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, like I was like, it's together. There. So he intertwines that stuff in there all the way around to the final sequence when Tiana Parrish is going in there, like her character is going in to try and save Anthony. Yeah. And what happens?
Oh yeah.
The door kicks in. Idea, like the best. I think and for me it was rough, but I think the best part of the whole film happens in the credits. You stay for the credits. Stay for the credits, and you watch the puppet show that happens there at the very end. Oh yeah. While the credits roll.
That was good.
Super good. Like
very good.
Like to bring that out. Good. So there are lots of little the nuances of the film I'd say are great. So the performances, of course, the themes, the way he weaves themes in, but also the nuances of the film are super good.
Also, like it makes you feel uncomfortable as well. So if you have trypophobia, this is going to be a tough movie for you to watch.
That part is a little rough.
Because as Anthony is transitioning into the Candyman, starts off with the beast thing, and the next thing you know, his hand is just looking bad. Yeah. Then it goes all the way up to his arm. Then you see it a little bit on his neck. Then it's the whole side of his face. I was like, ooh, but I was like, I like that part about it because it was like, ooh, they didn't have to go there, but they did. Yeah. But what they're doing is they're making the audience feel uncomfortable, and that's what they're looking for. I thought that was pretty dope as well.
Now I will say, unless you got more positive things.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I did want to touch on what I said before. Like, So some of the negative. This is the negative side of the story that I saw.
Oh man.
There were some glue pieces that just didn't make sense to me. Like so. Anthony goes on this journey of becoming essentially the Candyman after doing some research about it, but I'm kind of like, why?
Why? Yeah, that's like, well, it's never really explained.
To me, it doesn't get explained clear enough. Yeah,
I didn't really understand why. I mean, I understand that you're the baby that was kidnapped,
but how does that
out? But I was trying to figure out how that relates to him becoming Candyman.
Yeah, it felt like it just kind of got retconned by the mama at the end. Like she kind of just like, oh, by the way, he tried to do something to you, and I was like,
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that. But I also tried to think about Helen from the first one, like when she ends up being the reincarnation as well, and she ends up killing her dude. So I'm like, so the good thing about it is, okay, Candyman is not just Tony Todd; it can be whoever now.
Yeah,
right?
and that's the face.
So that's the
I
way
think they
it's
say it
opening
in the. There's a scene where Anthony's listening to I can't remember the character's name, but the man is there and he's like telling him, he's like, "Who's the Candyman? The Candyman happened."
Yeah.
Has been multiple people. This person in this time.
Yeah.
Like so, like I do see that. I just was like, cool. But how does that glue just immediately hit him?
Yeah. What about William's character? It's interesting. So you see him in the beginning of the movie as a little boy, and then we get this fake Candyman.
William, thank you. You said the name.
William.
Yeah.
So we get this fake Candyman. I thought that was interesting as well. And then once again, it's showing you a black man killed by the police. But
that's the nuance.
That's the nuance for it. But I thought that was interesting. So because it makes you think like, oh snap, that could be Candyman.
No. Okay, and the crazy thing about it, like I think it was helping to tie in that story. Like, there are multiple. Like it's not just linked to one person.
Right.
But I thought that was a really nice touch. I thought William's character overall. So it was interesting to me too. In a sense, I was like. Another flaw I think in the story, I was just like, so early on I got this feeling that William would be.
You thought he would be Candyman?
Right, like he's like the.
That would have been a nice twist.
I thought that would have been this nice little spin.
Well, why do you okay? So why do you think William wanted to, like he was so happy that Anthony was Candyman? Because what I gathered from it was, we have somebody who can fight against police brutality.
It's like
that's the way I was kind of looking at it, like because like why was he so excited like in Candyman's church area where it's like yes, and he's putting the hook on him and he's so excited and I'm like why are you this excited over this?
I guess I may who knows maybe you just way smarter than us as directors and writers and we just couldn't connect it. But I was kind of like I was in the same place. I was like in my mind I was like I understand I was feeling I could understand the idea of him trying to bring it back, but I was like. No, I'm not getting his motive here. Even if he was, somewhat distraught or a little, being eaten at about the fact that he set up, he inadvertently as a kid set up the last Candyman for the situation he was put in.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah.
It would have made more sense for him to be the one taking that vengeance, being like, yo, that man ain't do nothing to nobody.
Yeah.
I accidentally did that, but I'm gonna make sure it's no. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I feel you. There was just some things that just weren't explained that you have to. But I think you might have to watch it again. Maybe you pick up on it.
And that's true.
I don't know.
I mean, I think I did.
But overall, though, it's pretty good. I mean, this movie was a perfect parallel to the first one. I didn't know it was gonna be that closely related as it was. Well, yeah, it was a good sequel.
Yeah, so. I had to look at. I looked up. I didn't realize it was supposed to be a sequel.
Yeah,
at the time. Like when I saw
sequel,
it, I thought it was supposed to be a reboot.
And I do think they did a good job because the first one was like an investigative type deal with Helen just trying to get go to Cabrini Green and actually get information on this urban legend and. Anthony does a good job of trying to go out and get information.
Yeah, it kind of has the same.
Help get motivation for his story. Yeah. But I just like just watching his complete breakdown. Like the more he's painting, the more that's just like the crazier he's getting and the worse his scarring is getting.
Well, yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool.
And
like
I thought it was interesting. That tie-in. Even though I did say that the connection between him becoming Candyman isn't truly clear enough to me. I do think that was something too. Like
the more information he's getting, the more he's painting, the more it's influencing him, and just influencing his thoughts.
Yeah, and it's
the more. But the one thing I did not like about this, and not that I didn't like about it, I just have to ding it a little bit. Is just this one is more of a slasher than the other one. The other one was dark and the tone was more creepy.
Yeah.
And this one was going for, I thought it was going to go for a creepy tone, but it just ended up becoming like the straight slasher.
Well, see, for me, it's creepy, but it just it's got creepy tone, but it's just not. It's not scary, and also the lack thereof of seeing. Like even with the slasher moments, I'm like, the lack thereof of seeing said like, and I'm not saying I wanted it to be a gore fest, but also
it was gory though.
It feels like a lot of pieces happen off.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Some of that happens, but you do see like the blood coming out. And
yeah, and that's what I said. Like the gore is there, but I was just like, it was strange.
You would have liked to see him hook somebody, like I Know What You Did Last Summer type hook.
A little bit, like, or at least for us to witness the the confrontation of the people to the ghost. I think the only one we really get is inside the art exhibit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And the bathroom one was,
the bathroom happens around the corner at one point.
Yeah. And she's looking underneath the stall and she sees.
Yeah. And so I was like.
So what you gonna rate this movie, man? What you giving it?
As far as horror movies go, I could put it at a 7.3, 73%.
I was gonna give it a 75%. I think it's pretty good actually.
73, 75, yeah.
It's good with me.
It's fine. I think it's fine. I don't think a lot of people may be being a lot more harsh than they need to be.
Yeah. It's mixed reviews though. People either like it or they don't. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I think both of them, the first one was racism, this one's racism. The first one was gentrification, this one's gentrification. So it's like this one was just more heavy-handed, but you know what Peele does when he writes. That's what he does. If you've seen Get Out, if you've seen Us, that's what he does.
Yeah, I think
Nia did a good job with the direction. It's fine. The writing was okay.
Yeah.
It was all right. It was okay.
I would say
actors did good though. Oh, my favorite character in the movie though is Anthony's girlfriend's brother. I don't know his name, but that dude is funny because he reminds me of exactly what every black person would be in real life when it comes to this kind of stuff. Hey, don't play around with that. Yeah. Don't say Candyman 5 times.
You can chill right now.
That's my favorite character.
And I gotta say, it was also pretty funny. Like when he's like, "I told you not to be with his broke tail." Yeah, right. Like he ain't got no real job. I was like, I was dying. I was dying.
Favorite character in the movie. He was good.
Everybody, I was like, man, everybody done heard that before. Some friend, your auntie, your cousin, somebody done told you.
That was legit. That was legit.
So, but tell us in the comments what you thought. We'd love to know what your thoughts are on Shang-Chi or Candyman. Tell us if we're crazy. If we may have it wrong this time through.
We may have it wrong.
I don't think so. We probably perfect. But we might have got it wrong. Yeah. So go into the comments and make sure that you leave a comment. Let us know how you feel. Like it. Also subscribe. Make sure to subscribe so that way you can get news whenever we drop new ones. Check us out on Instagram also at The Real For Real. Mm-hmm. You can find us there. Other than that, folks, we will catch y'all next time.
Peace. Appreciate you tuning in.